Sinbad has become God altogether. And one thing is that he has a weird final form kind of transformation going on right now. I don't want to still say out it's just exactly a final form, because I'm pretty sure he's just going to be an amalgamation of just who knows what else, but he's over gods and multiple gods, and he can now just manipulate reality altogether as it is, and it is goddamn terrifying. So we're going to be talking about 328 and 329 this week, and especially like what we got saw on 328. A lot of it was just talking about some of the stuff that we already know about. It was like, oh, suddenly out of nowhere, like everyone was just saying, we just suddenly agreed to Sinbad's terms, and it's like, I wonder why. And it's just like, I thought everything that I just stood for, everything I really enjoyed. It's like, what was the point of it anymore? And it's just like, I'm going to make sure everything's going out. And it's just, when Aladdin found out about this, it's like, oh my god, why did you do this? Or when he actually confronts Sinbad, it's just like, he overwrote everyone's feelings, like, and he's just something more. And I was like, even more thinking about it, and I'm glad that 329 cleared up. It's like, why was Alibaba affected by this? And it's still a very weird reason. It's like, oh, he died once, and that somehow weirdly affected the time, or something. It just seems weird. It would have, I feel like it would have made more sense. Like, oh, it's because he's near Aladdin or something, or he has a very close bond. He's this king candidate or something that would have affected him. But even in the case, it's just like, even like, I like the fact that Sinbad just admitted it. He's like, yeah, I went to the sacred palace and I rewrote the rook. Yeah, you got a problem with that? And he's like, why would you do that? Just stop joking with me. Why are you just like giving this whole like shared shard of hope? And he's just like, listen, kids, every single person lives by being guided by some kind of hope, and I just directed it all into a single hope. And that is me, Sinbad, which sounds like the most selfish thing on the goddamn planet when you think of it. It's like, oh, I'm just going to do that to you and just make you, everyone accept me and love me. And it's just like, in other words, you made everyone believe that you are a unique, special little snowflake and the right king. And I am not accepting this shit. Like, you know, what happens and all that thing. And like, funny enough, he's like, didn't, like, you know, King Solomon do the same thing? It's like, you know, he converted all the rook and spread it throughout the world. It's the same, isn't it? I'm doing exactly the same as what he did. And it's like, but don't you think that's a cruel world? Like, and it's like, do you want to support an unreasonable world that King Solomon's lived in? I'm giving people something happy. I'm making people, like, give hope. Do you want me to take hope away? Do you want me to, like, make these people despair and saying, like, oh, it's alright, Sinbad will say this, like, think out, like, out your own ass at the moment, Aladdin. And he's just like, I can't agree with your reasons. I came here to, like, seeing people that chose to fight something and decide on their own free will. You're manipulating that. They're now being puppets, and they're not acting how they should be. And then even when he was pointing out, it's just like, that's your just own point of view and all that. It's like, Aladdin, stop this nonsense and just free us from Al-Mutaran. It's just like, you'll probably go to the sacred palace and overwrite the rook once more, but that'll be nothing more than overriding the rook with your own personal will. How is that different from what I did? And it's just like, you're contradicting yourself. And it's like, no, the fact that the Magi or the destroyed world like you wants to push his views on us, isn't that called arrogance? And it was like, the whole chapter was them like debating one another and saying, no, fuck you. You think you're like interesting. And honestly, with 328, the one thing as like Aladdin was being pushed to a corner with this debating, the one bit I was like, what do you think, Alibaba? And I'm like, why would Alibaba really have anything to say that would be so dramatically important? And it's like, after this big fucking like shoot fest that we're having right now between a god and a Magi right now, like fighting over it. It's just like, and then it's like, yeah, what do you think, Alibaba? And like Alibaba is like explaining it as such a very weird reason. Enough, he kind of defends Sinbad a little bit, where he's like, don't be so impudent when you're speaking to Sinbad, you little shit, like that. And it's just like, and he's like, what, have you brainwashed him as well? He's like, no, I'm still me, but listen here, he's got good, like, you know, he's got a good heart about that, you know, he wants to eliminate conflict from the world. And it's just like, and one is like, you know, I was thinking about it, saying like, I really enjoy, you know, a contest, and it's just like, you're a human being the same as me, man. I enjoy that. You're the other person I admire the most in this world, and you're an incredible person out there. And it's like, because you and I are fellow men, and it's like, that's why I'm able to do it. And yet you've become a god now, and I feel lonely. And I'm like, I don't feel like I have that competition anymore, because now you can just do anything you want. And it's like, it's just such a weird reason where it's like, oh, like Alibaba's kind of reason why he's sticking with Aladdin on this one. It's like, I thought we were equals, and then you go and want, like, become a completely different being. No, we're no longer humans striving to like make, you know, insanity happening by like just by a sheer will. And funny enough, when Sinbad gets into the nitty gritty, it's just like, this world is ruled by a single god, and that was Ugo in this entire time. And it's just like, yeah, and he pretty much made like universes is made up of countless layers of this gods with different gods existing in each of those worlds, and Ugo ago had the frightening ability to switch the order of things in the entire world and everything. And it's like, if you had Ugo's power, you could send Aladdin into this world and switch positions with Ilya. And he's like showing an example of like, he turns a feather into Ilya and just stealing its power, he crushes it. And then the same thing happens again as he's able to revert Ilya into a pen. This is what something above a god can do. He can make entities just like that, and it's just a scary thing right there. And it's like, he's like, he didn't possess, like, you know, all my ambition, he didn't possess it at all. And it's like, people who don't have dreams or desires have no choice but to play the roles others give them. I am different though, and you see the world like just skitzing out. The world is like skittering and like just losing it. Like, it was kind of reminded me like the effect was like kind of like VCRs kind of had like when it's going on. It's like, you know, if there's a god, I will surpass him. Like, I'll send even higher, the gods above. And it's just like, why would you do such a thing, Sinbad, and all that? It's just like, why are you doing that? Because I'm a greedy human at the end of the day. It's just, I will reach new heights, and it's just like, you're wrong though, you know. And it's just like, no, I'm never wrong. Open your eyes, Aladdin. If there are countless gods, then there's neither justice nor evil. And the fact is that like his arm collapses, and it's just like, oh, I'm not accustomed to my new body yet. And it's just like, you're no longer human, Sinbad. Like, and I think even as well that we can kind of see as well what's happening to Sinbad is Sinbad's going crazy. The will of Sinbad still exists into there, but now he's got all this multiple things happening to him, and he's just like, yeah, he's still acting out there, but I think just clearly he is like kind of losing it a little bit, and he's just like, you're no longer human. He's like, I'm the king of men, I'm the all of them, I am, that is what Sinbad is. Greedier than any god in any dimension. That is Sinbad, as he starts like transforming, and you start seeing him have like Solomon's wisdom in his eye, and you see like all the rooks surrounding him, and it's just, what can you do against a guy that's going crazy? And adding into the fact, he can turn a feather into a god. He can do anything that he goddamn pleases, and the only like two things that's standing in his way right now is Alibaba, who, let's be honest, what do you really think Alibaba can do? It seems like Alibaba can only like distract him in some way by like kind of pleading with him, and then you got Sinbad who can like kind of bend reality, but then can like Sinbad just bend reality back into the place? Can he just like cancel out his magic? It's an insane power. It's terrifying. It shits myself like just thinking about like what's happening with him. And I dare think about, I think 328 was a kind of weak chapter for the most part, and it was like kind of mainly a, like just a verbal confrontation for the most part, and it was kind of interesting throughout a little bit of it, but it was kind of the stuff that we already knew about. Apart from like, I didn't really like too much about the reason why, oh, Alibaba just died, and that was the reason why I was going, because that's the case, like, you know, the rook goes back into the flow, but then it was weirded out because of like what exactly that he became an irregular, like irregular because of that whole thing. So it's like, it's a weird kind of explanation how it all happened, but it's like, just screw it, you just accept it, like, for the most part. And then this chapter, it just shows Sinbad's going insane. He, like, no human, it's the reason, no human can control us. And I think Sinbad is losing his mind, and it's just like, no, he's trying to keep those noble ideals, and it's like, no, this is me, I am Sinbad, I am the king, you have to listen to me, and his body is giving up, and it's like, he can't retain this human body that he's having, and like, it's just, the information that he's probably processing right now is ridiculous. Your mind would just explode. So I am curious to see like what's going to be happening in the next like couple of chapters. Are we actually going to have that confrontation now with Sinbad? I am very curious about that. But other than that, I did like the two chapters. I think 328 was a little tiny bit weak, but I'm very much looking forward to like 330, because that was absolutely, 329 was really insane, going into more of this and like kind of understanding Alibaba's reason, saying like, we were humans and now lonely, I feel lonely because I feel like I'm on my own and you're God now. And it's like Aladdin is just screaming at the top of his lungs saying like, what are you doing, Sinbad? So we'll have to wait and see what's going to be happening in 330, but fantastic chapter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below, but that's all from me. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.